One time ago, I here was king, my lady. I am he who was the naked master of the melodious woods, where there were miraculous caves of enchantment. Spain, here I was king, until one day your terrible brigantines arrived, with your armored sons, who with firearms and swords lay waste my kingdom and my people. I lost all, and even my language, which as the ringdove sobs and sings, and which even as honey is soft of scent, pursued, agonizes in my throat. My poor crested owl, living phantom of the tribe, weeps still its bitter love, ever since that day. I am the nude and pensive king who, one time ago, did here reign, my lady. This is a story that began 500 years ago, when all of Paraguay's geography, enveloped in astonishing wilderness, was the domain of an extraordinary native race. 'Twas a race that once conquered, lay down its crown to merge as Spanish Guarani stock. In their immense green empire, the natives lived in total liberty until that fateful day when by surprise the Paraguay River carried upstream unknown ships. The brigantines were commanded by bold Spanish conquerors. The unwritten history of millenniums changed its course, and a new breed of man was born. Fascinated by the constant discovery of new wonders, the explorers ranged over fields and through forests. Despite resistance from the Indians, the Europeans were successful in gaining many achievements. In 1537, Juan de Salazar y Espinosa founded the city of Asunción. Situated in the heart of South America, Asunción was built on the left bank of a wide bend of the Paraguay River. Now the capital city of Paraguay, Asunción has grown into a populous and dynamic urban center, where lordly colonial buildings provide a curious contrast to modern structures of metal, concrete, and glass. At the dawn of the 16th century, strange melodies invaded the lands and dominions of the Guarani Indians. Various musical instruments, played masterfully by missionary priests, caught the Indians' attention. Drawn by their curiosity, the Guarani Indians were soon captivated and overtaken by the magical enchantment of such wonderful harmonies. They put aside all hostility and decided to accept the way of the gospel. The creation of the Misiones del Paraguay province, signed by the Father General of the Society of Jesus in Rome in 1604, marked the starting point for one of the most passionate and beautiful stories ever to be written in man's history. Within a few years, more than 100,000 natives were gathered into 30 settlements called reducciones. An active religious life marked by harmony and hard work prevailed throughout the province. The great prosperity acquired by means of perfect organization allowed for rapid social, artistic, and cultural development. However, in the year 1767, by order of King Charles III, the Jesuit priests were expelled from all Spanish colonies. Today, more than 2 centuries after this sad decision, we gaze upon the testimony of that grand undertaking and ask ourselves, how could such colossal works have been built in the depths of the forest? Of the 30 original settlements, due to territorial disputes and border changes, only 7 now remain within Paraguay's boundaries. This is Santísima Trinidad Church, located 400 kilometers southeast of Asunción and 35 kilometers northeast of Encarnación. Construction of this temple began in 1706. The project is attributed to Brother Juan Bautista Primuli, a renowned Italian architect born in Milan in 1673. Perfectly sculptured images adorn the entrance hall and walls of this church. In its architectural style, we can appreciate both the expressions of faith and the artistic maturity of its builders. As we make an analysis of style, it becomes evident that Baroque art, which dominated Europe at one time, flourished also in Paraguay. Brilliant presentations by the First Philharmonic Orchestra of the River Plate and by the Polyphonic Chorus, a choir which counted some 200 native voices, filled these temples with music and majesty. The masterly compositions of the great Domenico Zipoli were performed here in an artistic manner worthy of the cathedrals in the Old World. This is a clear example. This pulpit, unique in design, was reconstructed from approximately 1,500 original pieces, which were found scattered and buried under earth and debris. Its chief beauty lies in the diversity of decorative motifs with which it is adorned. Another priceless relic which has been preserved is this baptismal font. Carved out of a single block of stone, the gigantic piece was found buried intact. It dates back to 1720. The bas reliefs of the friezes deserve special mention. The Guarani Indians had a definite fondness for music. Just as they carved angel musicians with perfection, some of the native musicians surpassed their own masters as players of musical instruments. Inside the nave of this church, there is a crypt where the remains of priests and other outstanding individuals were laid to rest. All other community members were buried in the adjacent cemetery located beside the church. Not far away stands a sturdy tower. Because of its square base, it seems logical to think of it as the bell tower. This chapel is considered to be the first church built in the settlement. Note the beautifully decorated columns. The Indian's house speaks of the esteem in which the natives were held. This may be deduced from the robust Roman arches decorated with carved stone rosettes. Such features blend in a curious duality of style in these typical buildings. The magnitude of work and the beauty and decoration fully justify the fact that construction of this church took almost half a century. Seemingly routine, life in the missions flowed in a rhythm of art, work, study, and religious experience. The workday began at sunrise. The basic diet consisted of garden produce, grain crops, meat, and yerba mate, the native tea. This product was not only an important food staple, but also was marketed to pay the tribute required by the Spanish crown. At work time, everyone went about his or her specific duties, which were quite varied. This building was a workshop. Various craftsmen worked here. Carpenters, woodworkers, blacksmiths, tool makers, and those who fashioned musical instruments, bells, sculpture, and paintings. In addition, the first printing press to operate in the area was located here. Many women were occupied with child care activities throughout the day, seeing to the children's dietary and educational needs. Others were involved in textile activities and were responsible for spinning, dyeing, weaving cloth, and making garments. This was an important task, as sameness in dress distinguished the Indians as members of the community and at the same time as souls. Those in charge of the cattle left early to take the animals to pasture. Farmers also went to their fields and garden plots soon after daybreak. Adjacent to each Jesuit settlement, a special plot of land was set aside and cultivated for the benefit of the disabled and others who were unfit for work. All the farmers contributed some of their work time toward making this charity project possible. Mba'e, as it was known, was considered to be God's property. Mba'e, on the other hand, literally, the Indians' belongings, was work and production for their own needs. But not everything was perfect for the settlements. There was the constant problem of the marauding polistas, adventurers who frequently attacked villages in the hope of taking Indian slaves. For this reason, Father Antonio Ruiz de Montoya, one of the first missionaries, traveled to Madrid to request permission from the Crown for organizing the self-defense of the settlements. Some form of military training could no longer be postponed. A few of the Jesuit priests who had formerly been soldiers took responsibility for such training. The natives' natural talent for the handling of firearms and the efficient training imparted soon bore fruit, as the aggressors were time and again driven back. The fact that all the settlements were strategically situated on high ground was an important factor in defense preparations. Antonio Ruiz de Montoya was born in Lima, Peru on June 13, 1585. He joined the Society of Jesus in 1606. Not long after, he volunteered for service in the Guarani missions, and in this manner he arrived in the Jesuit settlements located throughout the border region. Badgered by the Paulistas, Father Ruiz de Montoya, with 2 companions, led 12,000 Indians in a bold escape heading south along the steep banks of the Paraná River. The flight took them to these majestic and thundering waterfalls which witnessed the passing of the seemingly endless caravan. San Ignacio Guasu was to be the first of the new settlements and was founded in 1610 by Father Marcial Lorenzana. The church, with thick adobe walls and solid beams, survived up until the beginning of our century. Now it has been completely restored due to efforts of the Paraguayo Foundation. The building now serves as a museum and houses wood carvings of stunning perfection. A wooden pulpit, lavishly decorated in Baroque style, is of notable beauty. A large stone plaque located near the entrance honors the memory of many martyrs. 3 of the most outstanding, Raul Gonzalez de Santa Cruz, Alfonso Rodriguez, and Juan del Castillo, were canonized by Pope John Paul II in 1988. Nothing remains of the Santa Rosa Church except a solid red stone tower that even to this day is used as a bell tower. One small building, which preserves its original beams and painted ceiling, functions as a museum. At the Santa Maria settlement, located not far from Santa Rosa, a group of Indian homes has been restored by the Paraguayo Foundation. Many priceless carvings are on exhibit in the museum and are perhaps the most beautiful images that have been preserved in memory of the Jesuits. They were miraculously saved when the church was destroyed by flames in 1889. The Church of Jesus was the only temple left unfinished at the time of the Jesuits' retreat. It is one of the best preserved churches. Some authorities say that the Franciscan missionaries had tried in vain to defend it from attack. The structure is approximately 60 meters in length. The 3 impressive doors at its entrance have trefoiled arches of exceptional beauty. There is a curious coincidence in the fact that one of the principal backers of this project, Brother Antonio Forcala, was to die in 1767, just before his brethren were expelled from America. The San Cosme Church differs in architecture, but still shows the structural soundness that was the common characteristic in the Jesuit undertakings. One very noteworthy detail is the opening pit of an underground tunnel, which, according to locals, extends for as much as 40 kilometers, crossing under the Paraná River. The San Cosme and Damian settlement acquired fame long ago for the astronomical observatory built by the astronomer Buenaventura Suarez. All that remains now is this solitary sundial, which seems to sadly clock the endless hours to which it was condemned long ago. There is some local controversy regarding the detailed reconstruction of the San Cosme and Damian Church, which is being carried out according to the original plans, using authentic materials and techniques. Some conservative spokesmen say that the church as a historic relic should be preserved intact. All that remains to be seen of the Santiago Church are a few adobe walls and an extremely valuable collection of wood carvings. These can be found in a newly built museum. Once again, we can appreciate the delicate proportions and the fineness in detail that characterize Jesuit sculpture. Nothing is left of the Itapúa settlement save its name, which now designates one of the most prosperous district departments in Paraguay. The city of Encarnacion is located on the site of the original Itapúa settlement, and its town square lies on the same spot as the Plaza of long ago. After the expulsion of the Jesuit missionary priests, the bewildered Indians returned to their ancient homes in the forest. The temples were abandoned and fell to ruin. Today, the Jesuit treasures are considered part of Paraguay's national patrimony. Judged by their artistic scale and grandeur, they indeed should be declared universal patrimony. The celebration of the 500th anniversary of the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus should appropriately be the occasion of the fulfillment of this act of justice. The opening verses of Guarani to Spain, written by the Paraguayan poet Manuel Ortiz Guerrero, capture the feeling of the Guarani Indians at the time of the conquest. We make a fervent plea to the consciences of everyone that the plight of our mother stock, the Guarani race, be the focus of sincere and concrete proposals during the commemorative activities soon to be observed. We ask that our tribal people receive effective care and that they be afforded real and profoundly human protection. In this manner, they may regain in their own homeland their rightful position of splendor.